I'm really tired. Okay, normally, the thing to do at a time like this. Oh, it's so quiet outside. I would put on background music, but then I'm going to have a copyright infringement hit, which is one more reason why I'm so upset. Somebody destroyed the ability to use my headphones. I love my headphones. So upset when I can't use them. So, I'm barely awake. I've checked the morning news. Joe Biden does not appear to know what he's doing. I'm sure he figures he's going to go falling down so that Superman can come save him. If you're wondering what I mean, it's that he made some sort of announcement that made no sense. He was going to have a global infrastructure plan. Right. Global infrastructure, and yet no domestic infrastructure updates. And Biden is planning this big thing without any mention of how it's going to be paid for. And I don't understand that. First, he doesn't really specify what he means when he says infrastructure. Second, he does say that it's so that he can compete with China. China has its act together. Does he mean roads and bridges and tunnels, or is he talking about something else? I'm going to go get a cup of coffee and talk my way through this. Yes. I'm going to take this with me, and I'm going to make a cup of coffee right now. And I'm going to talk my way through my thoughts as I prepare my morning training session. Okay, so let's think about this very seriously for a minute. It's like this guy really thinks Superman's going to come save him. Oh, yes, and I've just heard it has been independently confirmed that there's a gap in the barricade. I have a barricade up to keep people out if I don't know who they are, because I've had all sorts of really threatening noises coming through the walls and the ceilings and outside. And since they're only noises, and the news doesn't seem to say we're all gonna die in here, it looks to me like setting up a barricade's a good idea. That's about it. All right. Don't go out any more than you need to. Make a halfway decent cup of coffee. Actually. So, okay, I'm not clear if this is supposed to be some sort of G10 summit. I'm so sorry, the housekeeping staff isn't here. It's not like there's a G10 summit that's happening anytime soon. Not here, anyway. I do believe, well, first he proposed a global tax. I didn't even respond to that because there's no such thing as a global tax. If he wishes to create a global tax, he would have to identify the thing that he's going to tax and his legal authority to tax it. he is the President of the United States of America. So, why would the President of the United States of America try to tax things in Spain, for example? Now it's a party. I do believe you're overstepping your legal authority. But it's not for me to say that. It's for perhaps the Spanish premier. It wouldn't be called a global tax. It would be called an international tax. And I believe we had that already before it was scrapped by Donald Trump. And, the most important thing I can think of about creating a tax is you have to make sure that the people and the things who are being taxed are capable of surviving the act of being taxed. I was just saying, the basic principles. What do we get? I don't think I should use the sugar. Okay, so what else? I don't want to get too close to an open flame. All right. So don't even bother speaking about a global tax because it's a waste of time, energy, and money. Then it's I'm going to create global infrastructure. Okay, so you have no authority to lay a tax in a different country in order to create infrastructure changes in a different country. And it sounds like he mostly means Europe. For real, it sounds like he's mostly talking about Europe, although he doesn't really specify. And I'm wondering what's up with his advisors, because that's a classic example of something too stupid to even say out loud on a hot mic. I'm not being mean. I mean, like, realistically, if you are the President of the United States of America, why would you raise money by setting a tax in order to improve the infrastructure in France, for example? That just doesn't even make sense, does it? See, that would be a great example of what I call too stupid to even say out loud. But you didn't ask me. And since you didn't speak to me specifically, I'm not going to go sticking my oar in. But you should really be much more afraid about the fact that Joe Biden said that out loud on an actual microphone in an actual broadcast that was actually made at Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal. Because that means the current sitting president of the United States is so ill-informed about the nature of the structure of tax in North America that he can't do his job, OMB can't do their jobs. The Treasury Department is probably, if I worked for the Treasury Department, I would be hiding in a bunker in Manhattan and be like, don't call me, don't write me. I don't have a phone. I'm going to take my phone and bang it with a hammer and throw it in the river. You don't know me. That's what I would do if I were in the Treasury Department. You're crazy. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to render advice to Joe Biden because I am disbarred. I am an attorney, admitted. I am an attorney. However, I am not admitted to practice in the state of New York because I was disbarred and I lost my license to practice, which means I cannot represent others in a court of law. In a private sector matter, it gets a little hazy. I don't know about other people because this has not come up for me, but I don't want to render advice for Joe Biden on tax because I have not kept up with the status of the tax law since maybe 2012 when I lost my membership to the City Bar Association. Is it not now 2021? So if my knowledge of tax is out of date by 9 or 10 years, why would I advise the sitting president of the United States when he's surrounded by people who sound like they're all on drugs? I mean, they literally don't even know basic principles, which means they are fundamentally not educated or on drugs or possibly both. I'm not going to exacerbate an existing problem. What Joe Biden truly should do is hire a law firm to render assistance by rendering advice. And I would start with Skadden tax, for example. I would start with the tax lawyers in New York. But I wouldn't steal the knowledge because I'm sure you don't understand how to read it, how to apply it. Oh, this is what they tried to do last time. Last time they tried to get me to render advice, my words were given to uneducated white supremacists who would then go have sex with people and then get federal appointments. But I actually have federal student loans that have not yet been paid, which means it's illegal for me to get a federal appointment. So it's kind of not a loss. In the meantime, back to the issue of funding, you would have to ask, the only source of money that I can think of other than taxation would be if he were in my cloud drive account, quantifying it, parceling it out, and then making plans for other people. Because when you're in a cloud drive account, it's like air. You can't really control what other people see and hear in different countries, except to the extent that they can comprehend your language. So since I have a database that's full of pictures of paintings that I've made, drawings that I've made, and things like that, the only way a person who doesn't know the tax code can raise the money in order to finance a global infrastructure change is to violate the intellectual property rights of somebody with a cloud drive that's got a lot of valuable stuff in it, parcel it out, quantify each, get cash for each bundle of photos, and then spend the money that has been loaned. And I'm assuming it's a loan. Spend the money on these infrastructure projects in what looks like Europe. So that assumes that I'm going to be selling Russell Ward Studio intellectual property to Europe. No, I'm not. Actually, it's far more accurate to say Russell Ward Studio intellectual property doesn't go anywhere unless it goes to a museum. In whole, like everything, would just go to a museum curator. And the museum curator, I'm like envisioning it being like the 1980s in a locked room with armed men and naked girls counting money. Like it's that actually used to happen in the 1980s. I mean, I was a child at the time, but I remember seeing the movies. And that's because it's a valuable item and you don't want people to conceal any parts of it anywhere on their bodies, like drugs. That's my overactive imagination talking and watching too many movies. So in my imagination, you've got these museum curators who are going to be going through the original artworks because now that I've poured my coffee, let me go get my notebook. I'll be right back. Okay, this is my first training book, right? I had to go get it from the other room. Okay, this book was supposed to be purchased by the Japanese government. Instead, it's falling apart. Here's an example of a layout of page from April 18th, 2020. That's my artistic signature, and it says Russell Ward Studio. And this is what I do every morning at 7 in the morning. I purchased this book at A.C. Moore in Owings Mills, Newtown, before it closed. And my mom paid for it. And I have been... How long did I put this book in service? I believe this book was in service for 6 months. Yes. June. About that. December to June. This is 6 months of training. This book was supposed to go to the Japanese government. The Japanese government never showed up to purchase it. Then David Nakamura was supposed to show up, and then he just sort of vanished into vapor, which is weird because I'm fairly sure he saw me at Amazon Hanover. I've had a lot of sales just fall through for mysterious reasons. And I'm fine with that because it's not me. It's because I've been experiencing business interference. Somebody who has a cable into this account has been tampering with my deals. And I've decided that since they have been preventing the transaction of funds as far back as 2018 in exchange for the sale of original artwork, and they're doing it because they're selling photographs, and they're trying to normalize the sale of photographs. Obviously, they don't want me to sell any originals. So the only buyer to me that exists is a museum buyer. Not in Australia either. North America, New York City. The museum curators who know me. And then when they purchase and acquire things, that's the whole reason why the deed of gift says it's non-transferable. Because I figure if it's really that valuable, someone's going to come in and steal it from the museum. So what happens if somebody steals from a museum, other than terrible, terrible thoughts and terrible things? You're a burglar. You can be arrested and charged under a felony. Long-arm jurisdiction applies. And that also activates counterterrorism in some circumstances. So, it's a pretty good coffee. I shouldn't have gotten the salted caramel, though. But the only caramel that they had salt in it. Basically, I think this all boils down to the notion that by aggressively insisting that I'm not an artist and I'm not the artist who made certain things, they would be an individual whom I have not met who has access to my account may continue to maintain previous false statements by gaslighting everyone. Mm. You just saw the shadow of my whole life. Number one way to always spot Sandy: dress, book, coffee. Mm. Don't touch my book. I need more rest. Shouldn't be up for 24 hours. 48 hours. Okay. This is the go bag that the museum curators know. And I believe the go bag that is known to the museum curators is heavily recorded. I don't know anyone else who has this bag. My third training book is in it. This is the book that goes to New York that I gave to the City Bar Association. And I swear I just heard a voice in the ceiling right now whispering, "That's exactly why I don't want anyone to pick you up." You know, I'm not mentally ill, and I don't have hearing problems. There really is a voice that is really emanating really from the ceiling. See that vent? Yeah, voice through the vent. All right. This only has 5%. Where is Ozzy? Okay. This is my rejection letter from the Museum of Modern Art, because I sent them a book and they sent it back. Oh, God. What's the book that I sent them? Okay, I know Summer Fun is the book that people are chasing after now, which is why I really think the Baltimore Museum of Art. No, here, it's Summer Fun. She made Glenn Lowry throw away masterworks. Well, not my problem. Glenn Lowry probably knew what he was doing. I don't think he was throwing away masterworks. I think Glenn Lowry was making a choice, because Glenn Lowry is a museum curator and he's not an idiot. Where is the actual book? Wait. Panera Picasso. Was that what he said? Okay. I'm betting that to the extent Glenn Lowry was making any choices, it was based off of security camera footage of me at Gagosian based on this book. There is footage of me as I was making this book in my old database. And I was walking around in my t-shirt, in my underwear, with a hand drill, making this. All right. That's where I was at the time. Except this is an old address, old cell phone number, old cell phone number, old cell phone number, old email, old website. All old information. Does that mean I'm not a real person? Obviously not. That'd be foolish. People move and they change their cell phone. If you wanted to know, you would have asked me. I spent 2 days at Gagosian Gallery at Madison Avenue at the Maya Picasso's exhibit. And it's easy to tell that these are originals. Let me demonstrate how easy it is. Because I'm betting that Barack Obama has been he made a fake of this. And I'm fairly sure that a fake of this changed hands at around $95 million to a Dutch art buyer. And the only thing making people continue to think that that fake was real is an insistence upon a lie. Lies about identity, even though you saw me there 2 days in a row. Okay, here. I saw Russell Ward Mychel's work at Gagosian Gallery, February 15th, 2017. And yes, that is a true statement. This is the signature of the person who was working there at the time. I asked her to sign my book for me. Let's see. There are 2 signatures in this book by people who work for Larry Gagosian. Because this particular exhibit was of paintings and drawings made by Picasso in the private collections of a bunch of people. And photography was not permitted. So this was basically a self-created homework assignment. Here. Eraser. How do you know this is real? It's literally that easy. This is an eraser. That's because this is charcoal. This is a real charcoal. Charcoal and chalk. Let's see. El Bobo. Oh, wow. I've been waiting a long time for that. The Sick Lady. Let's see. Number 14. We'll be back tomorrow to continue the project finished at 6:51 p.m. Yes, I did depart at 6:51 p.m. And here, at 6:52, I headed out. But at 6:52, I headed out. But there's a person who calls herself a writer. Like these really unpleasant people like to show up where I am and say nasty, vindictive, racist things to me while I'm painting and drawing. So I made a recording, a notation in my notebook about the writer. And I don't remember what she looks like now. I think she was a Caucasian female with dark hair who looked like she wanted to be Carrie Bradshaw's body double with dark hair. El Bobo. You know, I really should have put dividing pages on this. You know, if you have a LaserJet print, LaserJet prints don't need to be erased. I have no interest in people. Oh, Mychel. Okay. I believe he got out of the porn industry and got married. I'm very happy for him. What a market force he was. Signature. Signature's on the back of every one of these pages, actually. Here's the other signature of Claire. I'm Claire and I saw Mychel at Gagosian. Looks pretty straightforward to me. That's right, I did make one upside down. Alright, so one cut, one take. Oh, God. There's honey on this. Where is that notebook? La 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 la. Here. Yes, I think this is the one. Yes. I think this is the chunky book that I sent to the Museum of Modern Art. Honestly, they're not really in a worse off position if they ship it back to me and they change their minds, because they know who I am, they know where I am, I'm a member. They can always ask for it whenever they want. I think it's really much more accurate that, they wanted something else. Their focus is elsewhere other than here. And besides, that's not what the letter said. Oh, yeah. I think this person knows Janita Coleman. I had lunch with this person at the Green Turtle once. He purchased a hamburger for me. Okay, well, so I have the notebook that was shipped to me from the MoMA. If they want it, they can come get it pretty much whenever they want. But if they wanted it, they would have kept it when I shipped it. Which tells me they don't want it. They want something totally different. And that's exactly why it makes much more sense for a curator to tell you what they want, because you are not a mind reader. Empath, yes. Mind reader, no. Okay, now what? Where's Ozzy? If I'm going to do... Well, I can always just make it quick. Mars is only down to about 5% power. I didn't plug it in last night. Alright, well, I'm pretty sure I can get 30 minutes on 5% power. Actually, you know what? I'm a lot faster than 30 minutes. Why don't I see what I can do with what I have? Oh, great. Already done. I don't need to make any new. And I've just heard someone outside saying she's giving our high writing secrets away. You know, Chinese people do not say high writing. And it's not a secret. What I'm doing, these are things that I learned in art school. And if you wanted to know, you would have gone to art school. It's getting to be very frustrating, you know. All right. Glasses, because I'm nearsighted. Yes, it is true. In a previous video that I made a comment about the hand position for iron palm. Do I look like I've ever studied iron palm? Somebody really frustrated me and I hit the table exactly once. This is pure silver. Like, literally, it's pure silver, 0.999. I don't want my jewelry damaged. So, I don't really think I'm going to be smacking my palm on any bags of sand anytime soon. Although I'm sure I can pretend to, if you find that amusing enough. I've heard someone in the ceiling, again, you keep making these ridiculous statements. FaZe Clan authority. There is no such thing as FaZe Clan authority. A FaZe Clan is a set of headphones. Headphones do not have authority. Headphones cannot give authority. You are making up your own reality, and I find that deeply disturbing. I'm trying to get out of this app. This app does not want me to go. Restart. So I have heard in my ceiling that Barack Obama has tried to take over the board of directors at Amazon. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to me. Water. And in my ceiling again, I've just heard he's trying to get corporate control of Tenity. I don't know what Tenity is. I do not know that word. We are at 4% power now. I could waste the time looking for Ozzy, but no. I am going to do this. All right, timed poses. figures that are not nude. Where's my coffee? Yes, I know. We all know what happens when murderers get jealous. There are going to be murder plots. But it doesn't make any sense for there to be any murder plots because all you have to do is practice. I mean, if you spend less time running your mouth and more time actually training, instead of getting into competitions about who's better in bed, maybe you'd actually get things done. And no, I'm not a Republican. It's just that's asinine. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's just not even horse sense. Everybody from China, Japan, and India should be saying right now, well, that's not bad. Yes, I know very well that John Winter was getting government funding for the Windsors, but that was just set in the ceiling, and people in the ceiling don't really know anything about government finance, so they don't really explain how. Let me fill in those details for you. The Windsors are going to swear up, down, and sideways that they're in love with me because John Winter actually wrote out a marriage contract. Somebody literally wrote out a marriage contract for me. And nobody's actually spoken to me, and I don't consent to being married. As a result, every person who has been delivered is a contract substitute. Well, I want to marry a nice Jewish girl who can paint. Okay, well, you would have to first demonstrate the ability to paint in order to fit the description. So I think people have been taking photos of my artwork in order to fulfill a contract. It's absolutely ridiculous because no two people can paint alike. It's been like that ever since Patterson Belknap, because that's where he was when he wrote it. Let me get that one on the right. Oh, that's right. I did not forget about the Jewish matchmaker that I've never met. I don't want to get married. I don't want to give away Russell Ward property. And by the way, I don't use the words inside track. The Windsors really are in my ceiling, and they say it all the time. So basically what they're trying to do is steal Russell Ward's studio property. Try to create a market force where I have to sell, and that's not going to happen. But that would explain getting turned down for food assistance. And lying about identity in order to transact on it. I'm waiting for you to get hungry. Oh yes, there's also an order that I heard from the ceiling. Don't ever let that girl get another $250. Probably because, I really want a musical instrument. And I think they want to keep me from getting a musical instrument because they can't control a musical instrument. I know, that's stupid. For those of you who don't know what this is, I have recently heard the word Zovirax being used around the neighborhood. Zovirax is AIDS HIV treatment. For those of you who don't already know. You don't want to have unprotected sex with someone who's taking Zovirax. 10 minutes. Oh, wonderful. All right, 9 minutes left. What's today's date? Ah, yes. I previously said reed pen. That's what a reed pen looks like. Reed pens are a lot easier for me to use compared to brush. So I try to use brush wherever I can. What is today's date? What is today's date? I'm starting to have very mixed feelings about this Myers person. Because there's more than one Myers. And things he says and do make sense. And there are things that he says and does that do not make sense. And I have heard some really, truly terrible things come from him. And yes, I did write illiterate. But I think that was Harry Wales false flagging me. I have noticed that whenever something goes sour in the Middle East, in the relationship between Jewish people and Arabs, there's usually Harry Wales fleeing the scene, stirring up negative feelings. I have heard someone in the ceiling saying something very distressing, and I don't think I'm going to repeat it. There is no need to slaughter my whole family. I mean, what's the most heinous thing they could have done? All right, well, that should just about do it. Actually, you know something? This is done. This is early. Let me add. I think I'm gonna add some watercolor. Let's do that. All right. So, what's the first and most important thing you need to know? Negative space. You have to see what's there and see what's not there. I first learned this when I was painting around Scott Kelly. Who here remembers Scott Kelly and his famous Year in Space? I used to sing to him all the time. I used to sing to him because I like him. I've heard he's since gone on to Russia, and he's got a lovely wife and a whole life now. You know what? That's what happens when you stop fretting. Yes! It has appeared. Okay, good. So the only thing stopping me from making paintings and drawings now is the weather and the extent to which my I'll use the one in my bag. Problem solved. I keep a go bag. Actually, I should pull 2 of them out, put one in each bag. That way, in the event of emergency, packed and ready to go. Oh yeah, this is Crayola, all right. I probably shouldn't say that out loud, but it is. So, negative space. Negative space is like the space between things. And these are the most infrequently used of all the colors on the color palette. For me, whoops. Actually, that's rather pretty. I'm going to leave it just so. Because yellow and red mixed together give you orange. And yellow and blue mixed together give you green. So logically, if you've already got red, yellow, and blue, normal people don't use the green or the orange because it's really a waste of your time. It's just basic color theory, which you should know. And what I'm hearing, I'm hearing these gossip mongers. Stop gossiping. Joe Biden said he was going to hold her back and not do her right. You know, this is a matter of law. It truly is. The reality is the United States depends on its laws. And property laws are the most fundamental of all laws that we acknowledge. So it's pretty obvious this is my property because I made it and you saw me make it. Nope, that's not negative space. Okay, this is the leg. Leg goes like that. So this, this is dicey. This goes like that. This is the inside, not the outside. So I should have done better here. Oh, yes. I've heard about a whole bunch of racist revisionist histories that are being made about me. Flawed lies. I bet they're being made by Albert. You know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put a picture of this I'm going to send it to the City Bar Association. That way they know unambiguously that I made this. And a fundamental defamation about character and capacity. Can't do that on Mars. I have to do it on Aussie. We'll leave that for the City Bar Association to bring up, since Nasa Alcina made such a complaint about my capacity to practice law when she was chatting it up with the member office at the City Bar Association. I'm pretty sure they will take it up with Albert, who's been busy writing revisionist history for his wife Mary. Out of my stuff. No. Here we are. Mm-mm. There we go. I think that should solve the problem with all those lawyers spreading lies about me. Okay, so 1 hour, 7 minutes. Oh, I had a session. I don't want to hear Jeff Sessions. And tube. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to get off my feet. I'm going to have some coffee. I'm going to finish my coffee. And since it's going to be unbearably hot today, I'm going to be taking my clothes off and making ink paintings, making charcoals, making charcoals and oil pastels. It's going to be an unbearably hot summer. See, if I were the Museum of Modern Art, I would be reaching for these. Yeah, because these are already covered. That's just me. But those are much easier for me to do compared to the ink painting, so I do them less frequently. Anyway, yeah.